torque 1080
Come on.
today. And that's what the kids are doing these days. They're learning tricks out here in the field to add to their run, and just an incredible performance by Colby Stevenson. Love it.
All about the style. Colby Stevenson, Alex Hall, Nick Gepper, they get the sweep of the podium in the men's slopestyle final with Mac Forehand, the other American, finishing in 4th place. Coming up next, Toyota Adaptive Bank Slalom. Amy Purdy and Brad J will have the call.
Dew Tour is brought to you by Mountain Dew. Do the Dew. Toyota. Let's go places.
This is a letter that I wrote myself right when I got home from the hospital after losing both my legs. I was 19 years old. Okay, so let's see if I can do it. Okay. I'm here and I'm alive. And I know why I'm alive. Because I wanted to be. Oh, I can't do it. Being able to snowboard like I do, or being able to dance, being able to work out, just doing all the stuff that I do. It's taken 20 years to get here. So to now possibly lose that was terrifying. This was the first time that I felt limited. This is the first time that I felt pain, that I felt disabled at times. This is the first time that I've had to heavily rely on others, like my husband, Daniel. I love you, babe. It's not easy. I'm used to being so independent. This has given me a completely different perspective on what so many people go through. It's made me more of a whole person because I'm experiencing the depths of life, like the highs of life, but also the lows of life. It's like, you know, everything's still so raw for me right now. I want to be able to kind of share the things that I've learned and that I'm learning along the way. So, for the second time in my life, my world has flipped upside down. And for the second time in my life, it makes me want to cry, but I'm fighting to walk again. I think it does just add to the work that I already do. I try to relate to people, whether it's on stage or through social media or just in person, so that they feel like they're not alone. From me to you, whatever you are, be it all the way. What I've seen just through social media, like when I share my story, the amount of people who share their stories and what they're going through makes me realize just how many people are going through struggles and obstacles and challenges, no matter how big or how small. we relate to each other when we're vulnerable. You know, those stories we're scared to share, the stories that we feel like embarrassed by, or that make us feel a little bit uncomfortable, sometimes those are the stories we should be sharing because they make us human, and that connects us all. Okay, so this is it. I'm here and I'm alive, and I know I'm alive because I wanted to be. I feel stronger by my choice. I see it in my eyes, I see it in my smile, I see it in my skin, my family, and my friends. I'm more fulfilled now, more than I was before, because I shed my shell. And I feel comfortable with that, because I've accomplished so much just by being here right now. And just having enough faith that the universe is my guide, and everybody around me are my angels, and I'm theirs. I have no feet, but I have my spirit, and my passion to learn are my wings. We can get so attached to thinking like life will begin when I'm better. And in our minds, we think better means what we were before. But, you know, you can be even better by just embracing where you are today. It's not about stepping back into who you were, it's stepping forward into who you could be.
And a very big welcome to Tour Copper Mountain Day number 3. And it's all about the adaptive bank slalom presented by Toyota. We got the men, we got the women. They're ready to do battle out here for the fastest time. And I'll tell you what, I am honored and so stoked and a little teared up right now to be joined by Amy Purdy, and a 3-time Paralympic medalist. Amy, how you doing?
Oh my gosh, so good. I wasn't expecting that to play, so we were all tearing up.
We both are. We're both crying right now. All right.
Yes, it's amazing to be here. I'm so excited. Today's going to be really exciting.
And you've been along for the whole journey. You've seen it grow. You've seen Adaptive make it into the Paralympics. You've fought the good fight. You got 3 medals. You founded what you guys are, the Adaptive Action Sports here. You've done so much, and it's an honor to be part of being next to you and being part of this and feeling the stoke that you feel for all these athletes.
I mean, that's why I'm here today. I love this sport so much. This sport saved my life. I mean, being able to snowboard again with 2 prosthetic legs, that was my dream. And then, never could have imagined I'd make it to the Paralympic Games, but we were able to do that. And now we're here. We've got all these incredible athletes competing today. I'm just excited to represent it.
Yeah, don't let her fool you. She has 3 medals, too. She's, no slouch on that. A couple of bronze and a silver. Hey, taking a look at things first, these ladies that we're looking at here in your women's snowboarding adaptive bank slalom, temperatures are kind of cold. That means we're going to have some hard conditions. That course is the same course they use in the Nationals, I think, for border cross and ski cross.
Right.
What are they going to have to do to put up fast times today?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about the women. Some of these women are brand new at the sport. This is some of their first races competing are today at the Dew Tour, which is amazing. But we've got some incredible athletes, even summer Tokyo Paralympic medalists who are here competing from other sports, from running and from track and field are competing here today, like Noelle, who's going first.
So how does this work for Paralympics fast forward when we're talking about Beijing? Is there spots for athletes to try and make it to their Paralympic teams coming up?
Right now, they're doing trials. Half of the field is actually in Austria doing a World Cup right now.
Okay.
So we've got some of the best men in the world competing here. Some of them are also in Austria. There's an opportunity for all these athletes to still make the Beijing Paralympic Games.
How hard was it to get adaptive bank slalom here into Dew Tour?
It's such an honor for us to be able to do this. We were able to work with Toyota, our long-term partner, who's been a partner of mine for 10 plus years, and we were able to get snowboarding into the Dew Tour. This is our 4th year, so this is incredible.
Oh my gosh, it's been 4.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, let's get into it right now. It looks like we have Noelle Lambert going to start things off out of Manchester, New Hampshire, 24 years old, a goofy foot rider.
Yeah, so Noelle, she lost her leg in a moped accident, and she was a lacrosse player. She was the first lacrosse player in Division 1, which is amazing, even as an amputee, as an above-the-knee amputee. Now she's out here snowboarding. She medaled in Tokyo this summer, so her goal has been to be a summer and winter back-to-back Paralympic athlete. And you know, she's killing it. She's just starting with snowboarding, and she's here competing at the Dew Tour already.
I mean, that's got to be something in itself. Look, you're just starting in snowboarding, and now you're competing in snowboarding.
Yeah, she basically, no, she can't. She started by competing in snowboarding. Like, her start has been just jumping into World Cups and learning along the way. And so it's amazing. And, you know, bank slalom's really not that easy. It looks like an easier course than snowboard cross because you don't have jumps.
Yeah.
But it's really not that easy for us because the way our ankles move. And she's one of the only above-the-knee amputees competing here this week, and she's still adjusting her leg. She is still trying to get her legs set up for this, so she's doing amazing.
And it's also, when you look at her, it's the back foot, and when the back foot and the back leg, that's everything for you.
It's really everything. It's everything, exactly. Your back leg is what really does all the dynamic motion, so yeah, she's still getting that all set up.
And so we will look to our next competitor as we'll get some times as they become available. We have Annika Hustler up next, 25 years old. She's local out of Aurora, Colorado. What about her, 25 years old? Do you know her?
Oh, yeah, I know her well. She trains with Adaptive Action Sports. She's a Marine, actually.
A Marine?
And let me tell you about Annika. Literally, like 2 days ago, my husband, Danielle, who's running this, just goes, hey, want to be in Dew Tour? And she's here. So she has never raced or been on a bank slalom course ever, and she's killing it. And let me tell you, that she's so incredible. She lost her leg and did 8 competitive sports within like a 10-month period.
Wait. Wait, you lose your leg and you go in 8 sports.
Yeah, she's like, Amy, I do track and field, I surf, I do archery, I do wheelchair rugby. And then she's like, now I want to snowboard. And now she's here competing in the game. She's doing so good. I'm so impressed right now.
And I mean, the limits are the limits you put on yourself as a human being. And
exactly.
You're a person who definitely, there's no limits. You do what you want to do, and you do what you feel you need to do, right?
You do it, and if you believe you can do it, you can do it. You figure out a way. If you're committed to figuring it out, you will figure it out. And that's why each one of these athletes gets creative, figures out their prosthetic leg. Like Annika here, I mean, she's still figuring out her prosthetic leg as well. Everybody has a different setup, but we learn from each other and, inspire others along the way.
Oh, that's a good point, because you can compare how your prosthetic may work to what your other fellow competitors and talk about, styles or what you could change to make it better for you.
Exactly. I think that's the coolest thing about Adaptive Action Sports. We get these new athletes in and we're like, okay, you can do this with your foot. You can adjust your leg like this. You can do all these different creative things to try to get your legs to move the way you want them to. And we figured it out.
Looks like we have Kiana Clay now from Corona, California, 27 years old on course.
Kiana, she is the first Burton-sponsored adaptive athlete, men and women. She's amazing. So Kiana actually has a paralyzed arm. It's a brachial plexus injury from a motocross athlete. She's a big motocross athlete, and she had an injury with motocross. She actually fell on the bike. The wheel went over her neck and paralyzed her arm. So riding with one arm is harder than you can imagine because that's your balance, right?
Yeah.
So she, as you can see, her front arm's really pointing where she wants to go. She needs that to guide her because her other arm isn't really there to balance her out.
And that's kind of one of the things I always used to teach my kids when I was getting them into snowboarding is lead with that arm, lead with that front arm. It'll go, your board will follow.
Oh, exactly. I mean, that's how we teach all these athletes, no matter, what their abilities or disabilities are. We're like, just point where you want to go. Your eyes will go that way, your board will go that way. So, Kiana Clay.
Oh, and with a claim. I like that. Kiana Clay with the claim. Very good. She was happy with that. And I mean, that's what you want to be. And it's tough right now because it is cold out there. Conditions are hard. Conditions are fast.
Yeah.
With the snow. And we got Peggy Martin, the legend, 57 years old out here.
Yeah, so, she's the oldest competitor out here today. She's amazing. She's representing. She rides so well. She also has a brachial plexus injury. We've got 4 female athletes with the same injury, which is interesting, all from different things. But so she's an upper limb injured athlete. If we were doing classifications, that's the classification she would be in. And so once again, she's kind of pointing where she's going, and she's got to balance it out. And some of these athletes, especially the women right now, the entire female field retired, and now we've got all these new athletes coming in, and they're here today. So
it's like the door opens for the future of it, right? And that's probably pretty nice for you and your husband, Daniel, about, for the adaptive action sports to have more competitors come in there and support.
It's exciting. We had kind of the same women for a very long time. We were
Yeah.
all like best friends competing against each other. Yeah. And now to have all these new women at all ages come in, it's so cool. It just shows what the possibilities are,
And Peggy Martin, 57 years old, third of the Detour in 2020, Goofy Foot rider. And there's a pump fist right there. She's happy about that. And just the smiles and the camaraderie that we see. It's just,
Yeah, that's what I love about snowboarding in general, but adaptive snowboarding. We're all in it together, growing this movement together, supporting each other, learning from each other. It's pretty amazing.
So we have Jennifer Akers.
Yeah, and she's a brand new athlete as well. She's a mom of two. Her kids are here today.
Awesome.
She also has a brachial plexus injury, so she injured her arm snowboarding.
If that was a classification for Paralympics, what would that be?
It would be an upper limb.
Okay.
So right now we don't have an upper limb in the Paralympic Games for women. However, all these women are fighting for it.
Yeah.
And so if we had classifications today, they would be in their upper limb category. She injured her arm snowboarding when a snowboarder or a skier, I think, ran into her, and it partially paralyzed her arm. So this is a brand new, this is the first time she's ever been on a bank slalom course or any course. And that's what I think is really cool about what we're doing is we've got some of the best in the world here today, and we have some of the newer athletes, which to me I think is really inspiring. It shows what the possibilities are. Exactly.
You have to have the pipeline of the future athletes coming up, and so for Paralympics and for adaptive and other competitions, you got to have those youngsters coming up.
You do, and I think sometimes when you're sitting at home watching this on TV, you can get intimidated watching the best athletes. It's really cool to watch the newer athletes and go, oh, I can do that, and then from there you just work your way up.
And you talk about bank slalom. Bank slalom, especially in hard conditions, when it gets a little icy, it's not very easy. You can't get a good edge in it. You can slide out pretty hard in this. Conditions.
And the light is flat. You can't really see what's under your feet. Having prosthetic legs, you can't feel what's under your feet. So if you can't see it and you can't feel it, you kind of don't know what you're doing. Sometimes the conditions can make it really challenging with a prosthetic leg.
Maybe is it something that you have to look down to your legs to see how they're feeling or how they're acting with the snow?
It becomes really intuitive. Eventually it becomes very intuitive, but it's not easy.
Definitely not easy. Darian Haynes now, our final competitor here in your women's adaptive bank slalom presented by Toyota.
Yeah, so Darian is also an adaptive action sports athlete, and she's brand new as well, but she's a surfer.
She's from Maui.
She's from Maui. She lives in her van the majority of the time, traveling around, and she also has a brachial plexus injury. She was actually at birth, and so her arm is paralyzed, her arm and her hand. And yeah, it's funny. Today I was like, Darian, wait, how long have you been snowboarding? And she's like, maybe 2.5 months. I'm like, well, welcome to Detour. This is awesome.
Now, do you think, though, since she is a surfer, I feel that surfing does probably help her, don't you think?
Better?
Surfing definitely helps, but I'll tell you, when you're racing and snowboarding, it's quite different than surfing. Surfing, you have all your weight on your back leg.
Yep.
Snowboarding, when you're racing, you actually have your weight on your front leg because you're trying to drive the board.
Momentum, yeah.
I'd say bank slalom's probably a little bit closer to surfing than snowboard cross because you can kind of lean back and ride those berms. But yeah.
Maybe it gives her a little bit of an opportunity to kind of understand it too.
Exactly. This is exciting for all these women to be able to start here, and no better way to learn than to actually be in the start gates with the nerves, with TV, with everything, and be forced to learn quickly.
Oh my gosh, she was so excited. That was awesome to see that run right there.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so this is how we're doing it now. Of course, the women have taken their run, and it is 2 timed runs, which you get. It's the fastest of your 2 runs. That's the one that's going to count. And then we'll switch over to the guys now, and they'll do their first runs. And then we'll go back to the women for their final run, which will be their second and final run, and then back to the guys. And then we'll have a 3-2-1 in both categories.
Yeah.
Wow, unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's so nice to see the new faces in there, though, right?
It's great. You know, I mean, we've worked so hard. We worked for so many years to get snowboarding in the Paralympics. And, you know, athletes are going to retire or get injured. I got injured, so I'm not competing right now. And just to know that, you know, we opened the door for these other athletes to step in, and now they're taking over and they're representing, it's really exciting to see.
And what do they say to you? Because you guys are the one who held the torch to help, you know, get it into the Paralympics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did they thank you a lot?
They do. You know, I think they're all very appreciative. And just even the sport here right now, I mean, every other competition, nobody else gets to see. You see the Paralympics and you see Dew Tour. So this is a big way for us to represent adaptive snowboarding. It's one of the only ways for us to represent this sport.
And you want to see more qualifiers, right? You want to see more events.
We want to see more events. Yeah, I mean, for us, it was always important to be inclusive, to get adaptive snowboarding into these able-bodied events, and show that the athletes, you know, what they're capable of, and just represent the movement.
100%. All right, we're going to switch it up for the guys now, and Alex Massey's going to take things. He's going to start things off for the Dew Tour in 2020. He's regular foot, 26 years old, Canadian out of Ontario.
Yeah, so Alex, he's amazing. He came in second place just last week in Finland in the World Cup, which is incredible. And you know, he prides himself on being one of the biggest athletes out here. So Massey is a mass of muscle, and that muscle and that momentum carries him down the mountain.
I'm glad you're saying this, Amy, not me.
Listen, no, he likes that. That's what I'm telling you. He's happy with that, and it helps him out, right?
Okay, yeah, well, downhill.
Yeah.
A little heavier, you're going to go a little fast. I've learned that with my extra weight over the years.
Exactly. I mean, Massey's honestly one of the best riders we have out here. He's incredible. He lost his leg actually in a wake surfing accident, but he's one of the top athletes in the world.
And he is here to show what he can do, too, as well. Amy, Purdy, Brad J here with the call. And we're so excited. First of all, I mean, you and I were supposed to work together at Dew Tour a couple years ago, but 3 feet of snow pretty much stopped that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. I was sitting inside staying warm.
Wow, what happened? But we got more coming up. Stay with us because the men are going to take their first run. Men's Adaptive Bank Slalom on the way. It's all presented by Toyota. Amy, Purdy, Brad J. We'll be right back. And welcome the world. Thanks for joining us here. We are live at Copper Mountain, Colorado. Dew Tour, Copper Mountain, day number 3 of the action. Your women's adaptive snowboard bank slalom, run 1, presented by Toyota, just took place. And now we're getting into the men's adaptive snowboard bank slalom, presented by Toyota, run number 1 for the men. Ms. Brad J, joined by a 3-time Paralympic medalist, Amy Purdy, in the house. Amy, what are the guys going to have to do to put down them fast times?
Listen, all these guys are incredible. We have some of the best in the world here today, so I think it's going to be a really close race for everybody.
So Massive Massey starting things off. Is he okay with that?
Yeah, he's,
Okay.
you know, he's got momentum, and he's such a strong rider. He's a single below the knee amputee, and yeah, he's got a lot of momentum to carry him down the mountain. And he lost his leg in a wake surfing accident. He told me he's a huge fan of mullets and happens to have a mullet himself.
What is up with the mullets these days?
I think it makes him go faster. Maybe he thinks it makes him go faster. But but Alex is actually he is the Crystal Globe winner. So he's the overall winner with adaptive snowboarding right now, and he's just incredible. He's killing it in every race he's been in.
So Massey right there finishing up. He's got his first one and looked really solid, kept it nice and low into the course. Now we will look to Maddie Hawkins, it looks like, on course right now. Run number 1. Talk to me about this guy.
Okay, Maddie's amazing. So actually today we're calling him a staff lead because he is also one of our staff. He's actually helping to put on this event. He has never competed in bank slalom before. He's a single leg amputee. He actually works for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's probably the only athlete here who's got a Super Bowl ring on his finger, which is pretty amazing.
I bet he is the only. I mean,
Yeah.
you said he's probably the only. I think he is the only one. The Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, so this is brand new for Maddie. He's amazing. He just went off course there. I think he missed one of the gates, but
Yeah.
you know, this is still exciting for everybody.
I think he's going for some power runs.
I think that's what he decided to do. He's like, that looks good over there. That looks more fun. Let's go do that.
Because he got off course and then he came through a little pow section and he's like, oh look, there's more over here.
Right.
Now when you don't stay in the gates, obviously you can't get an accurate time.
You can't, right. So if you miss a gate, you're done. You know, he may have pushed down a little bit too far and decided just to ride off course there. So I think we've got Owen Pick here. Is that right?
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah.
up and riding.
Yeah.
Fast too.
Listen, Owen's one of the best riders out here as well. He's incredible. He's actually a wounded veteran. He lost his leg in Afghanistan. And everybody convinced him to come snowboard because he was a killer wakeboarder. And we're like, are you snowboarding? And he showed up, and he's been incredible. In fact, he's the gold medalist from Dew Tour.
He is.
Yeah.
From Dew Tour 2020.
2020.
But
Yep.
you look at him too, how he cuts time off by staying close to those gates too as well. And so much speed, even throwing some big slashes out there.
Yeah, I think.
Whoa!
Yeah, I think he's so far the fastest time for the men's.
Yeah, that's got to be the fastest time of the
Around.
day right there,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Nicely done. Owen Pick. Solid stuff. And, you know,
Yeah.
winning in 2020, you got to expect that he's going to be up on the podium.
Yeah, defending his gold medal.
So Jimmy Sides up next. He was 14th in Pay on Chain there at the Paralympics. Here he is.
Yeah. So Jimmy, he injured his arm. He lost his arm and his part of his eyesight actually in Afghanistan as well. And so he's a wounded veteran. He actually retired after the 2018 Paralympic Games after competing there, and came out of retirement to compete at Dew Tour today.
Yeah, you know, I'll just come out of retirement. So, well, Jimmy, is he trying to go to Beijing or?
No, actually, you know, interesting fact, he actually is a ski patrol up here at Copper Mountain now. So he kind of, he traded competing and snowboarding to being a ski patrol, and he works with the explosives and stuff, which is actually how he lost his arm in Afghanistan.
But, wow, and so he works still with it. What
But he
an
still
amazing
works with
story.
it, yeah. And look at him, I mean, he is absolutely killing it.
Did he just gap that?
I feel like he did.
And Sides
Yeah.
coming through with authority out here. Good stuff. Loving what we're seeing so far. Now we're going to move Ed Tudhope up next, and he's been doing it for a while, huh?
Oh yeah, so Benny's amazing. I've known him since he was so little. He's one of the fastest out here. I mean, look how he takes those turns. He's got such good style. He actually has cerebral palsy, He's not an amputee, but he's got weakness in his arms and his legs. But I actually think it makes him snowboard better.
Well, I mean, you look at how low center of gravity is, and look how he goes high and then tight after the turns.
Yeah, he's a super dynamic rider. He knows how to take really good lines. He knows how to finesse his board really well. Yeah, he's incredible. He's going to be one of the fastest out here, I think.
Well, it looks like it so far. And this is the same course we talked about Nationals run their border cross and ski cross on the same area. Oh, yeah, there's the little gappy right there.
Yeah, and so Benny's part of a team that we're calling Team Unicorn, which is amazing. We've got a couple different athletes part of it, and so we got Team Unicorn coming across the finish line there.
Why Team Unicorn? Did they give you any insight on that, Amy?
You know, it's because they're from different countries. We've got a handful of different athletes coming from different countries that are actually on the same team. So, and they're magical.
They are magical. Here's JBM, James Barnes Miller now, 32 years old, out of the UK.
Yeah, so he's missing his right hand. He was actually born missing his right hand. This is actually one of his kind of disciplines with big slalom that isn't his high point, but he's working really hard at it. He's amazing at snowboard cross, so he's just today trying to ride as good as he can. And I mean, he's an incredible athlete. He's been competing at this for a while, but you know, like I said, some of us are good at snowboard cross, some of us are good at big slalom, some are good at both, but like, it's interesting how different they are.
Completely different. I mean, you look at what Mount Baker has done with their bank slalom for how many years.
Oh, yeah.
One of the coolest events. Look at that gap. I loved seeing that.
Yeah. And also, James, he won silver and bronze just last week in Finland at the World Cup.
It's kind of right. Looks like he's right now with a pow stick right there, too.
Yeah, I think some of the athletes, you know, this is exciting, Dew Tour, to be able to come out and just kind of have fun. And everybody rides different boards. They'll ride powder boards and you know, just kind of whatever gets you around those turns quickly.
Well, we all know about this man right here, Matty Hamari, 35 years old now. He was Paralympic gold, right, 2014 out there in Sochi?
Yeah, so Matty's, once again, one of the top riders out here. He's absolutely incredible. You know, cool story about him. So he lost his leg in a motorcycle accident. He saw Evan Strong, who's not here today, but one of the top, you know, athletes snowboarding. He saw him in an article, and he was like, oh my gosh, if he can do it, then I can do it. And then Matty came out here and now is competing alongside Evan. I mean, they're always battling it out for gold medals. So.
And Evan competed before his injury, too, in skateboarding, right?
He did, yeah. And Matty, he also just had a kid, and this is one of his first races afterwards. So it's amazing to see him out here.
Yeah, you don't have to change diapers; you can go snowboarding. I think that's actually a good thing. So Matty Hamari, Paralympic gold 2014, also second in the Dew Tour 2020, and we move on to John Leslie.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about John. Can you tell me a little bit about him?
John's amazing. So he competed in both the 2014 and 2018 Paralympic Games. He's riding really quick today, which is so cool because he actually retired after the 2018 Paralympic Games, and he came out of retirement to compete at Dew Tour today. He's now a fitness instructor.
That's awesome. I don't see, I mean, with more events starting to happen, you know, Dew Tour, you know, getting behind it, Toyota getting behind it, and then Paralympics having it, I would think with more events coming up, you might want to push that retirement off just a little
That's
bit.
what I'm thinking. I'm like, what are you guys doing retiring? There's so much fun stuff to do. Oh, look at that. That was a nice gap. Yeah. Oh, so John he's riding good. I heard he was riding really good in practice yesterday, and here he is. That was quick.
And we'll get those times as they come available. Two-time Paralympian right there, John Leslie, out of Ontario. He's 29 years old. And we'll focus our attention back up top. Your men's adaptive snowboard bank slalom presented by Toyota. Run number ones we are going on. And this guy, Colby Fields, out of Summit County.
Yeah, Colby
16?
is the youngest athlete we've got out here, 16 years old. He is brand new to bank slalom, to Paralympic snowboarding. My husband, he's actually standing up there at the top right now. You can see him. My husband saw him at a skate park and could tell that he had a bit of a disability because he's got cerebral palsy. And so my husband could tell that he was, that he had a little bit of a disability, but skated incredibly well. My husband said, come snowboard. And now here he is.
But he hadn't snowboarded, or was he messing around a little bit?
Actually, he rides for the Breckenridge Big Mountain team. So he rides Big Mountain competitions. He's actually an incredible snowboarder. This is just the first time in a course in a race. Well, he actually competed last week in Finland and the week before in Netherlands, but this is the first time he even knew adaptive snowboarding existed. He was just riding, you know, amongst everybody else, and Daniel said, "Hey, you could be a Paralympic snowboarder," and he was like, "What's that?"
I didn't know there was such a thing.
Yeah, and he rides so well. He's so clean. Oh gosh, you know, some of these turns, it's so interesting. It's like you kind of get in the pocket, and sometimes the pocket will shoot you into the gate. I mean, it's like you're trying to ride the bank, but you're also trying to control your line. And so for some of the new riders, it's just something, you know, it's just something that takes a while to learn.
And for a bank slalom course, too, it's tighter than some you've seen in the past. Like if you look at Mount Baker, that thing's a massive. But this one, you don't have a lot of room for error. So if you get off your track, like you're saying.
You really don't. You start going a little bit too fast, and then you shoot right into the gates. So, you know, especially if not all the banks are the same, right? Some banks will hold you in. Some banks are strong, straighter.
So you get the run number 1 is in the books for the men. Remember, this is a 2-run format, and your fastest time is how it's going to work. And here's your standings, how it's looking right now. Kiana Clay, the number 1 spot right now, best time on the women's side. Peggy Martin will check in that number 2 spot. Annika Hustler will go in that 3rd spot, and then Darian Haynes just on the outside in that 4th spot.
Yeah.
Surprises? I heard you say, whoa.
Well, you know, I was seeing Annika riding super fast. I mean, she's in 3rd, which is great. So it'll be interesting to see how this comes out, because those top 3, I think, are pretty close together.
And then we'll get into their second runs. How many times do you think they get the chance to run that course before they actually get to compete on? Is it 3 or 4 maybe?
I think they got a practice run this morning, which, to be honest, is more of an inspection, just to see where the icy spots are and if anything's changed, kind of where the gate placement's at. They got a couple runs yesterday, but you know, you never feel like you have enough practice. And the conditions change so much. So one day it might be like just super soft and cruisy, and the next day it's super hard and fast. And
that's the way it is right now. It's super hard and fast because these temperatures have been quite low over the last few days. I mean, they've got some fresh snow. We've had 3 days in the last, I've been here a couple of weeks now and seen the snow come in, and big props out to Copper for doing such an amazing job to get more terrain open for everyone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is such a incredible course that these athletes get to ride, but it's always different. You know, that's the thing with bank slalom and border cross. Every course you go on is different. So you could do good on one, and then you show up to another, and it's a little tighter, it's a little more complicated, and so, but Dew Tour is always a good one. It's good for kind of the entry-level athletes as well as the top athletes.
You just gotta have your plan. Run it once, maybe feel a little bit more comfortable, but then it's just that fine line of you don't want to go too fast and get out of control.
Exactly. So we've got Noelle here, and once again, you know, she's got that incredible leg, which is a BioDAP leg. One of our other athletes makes this leg for the athletes.
Above knee, right? Amputation.
Yep. She's an above the knee amputee, and it's her back leg. So that's really what does a lot of your dynamics and control. And so, you know, it's a little bit more complicated than if you had a prosthetic on the front leg.
And also being above the knee, too, as well, because if you have the knee motion, you have a little bit more to work with, right?
Exactly. It's like, you know, if your ankles move, then your knees move. If your knees move, then your hips move. And so if you don't have a knee, and then you got to try to get your hips over your board and over your edge, that can be a little bit challenging. But, you know, she was just up there at the top cranking away at her leg, and, you know, it takes a while to get it perfectly set up, and you might set it up for one course and it's completely set up different for another course. So so adaptive athletes are very adaptive. We're very good at adapting our equipment and adapting our bodies to the terrain, but we have to use tools. We usually use Stanley tools to do it.
I know. I actually saw the workbench over in your guys' place over there at the Adaptive Action Sports area.
Yeah.
So I see how you guys got the little work area going over there.
We've got like a snowboard tool shop, and we've got a leg tool shop, and everyone's cranking away at their legs and their board at the same time.
How long have you guys had that now going on?
Oh God, we started, 2005 is when we started Adaptive Action Sports. And our goal was to get snowboarding into the Paralympics and also into these able-bodied races. And we've been able to accomplish that. So I'm really proud.
I'm very proud of what you guys have been able to accomplish, because I got to be part of the announced team for 2014 in Sochi, and it was pretty cool to see that.
Yeah.
Currently in 3rd, we got Annika Hustler now on course out of Aurora, Colorado.
I'm really proud of Annika. I mean, she's been training with Adaptive Action Sports. She's also an actress. She's a model. She was just in an Athleta ad. I mean, she's been all over plus her 8 sports that she does.
Plus her 8 sports.
She's just incredible. I mean, I really have never met anybody with as much energy as her, and she's completely impressing me today because she wasn't sure if she was going to continue to compete in snowboarding because she actually hadn't even started competing in it. She wasn't sure if she was going to compete in it. And then she showed up to do tour, and she's riding so well that I think we're going to have to convince her to stick around.
You might not have to convince her to stick around. Seems like she's going to like it now.
Yeah.
Being in that 3rd spot. Okay, so one thing I want to ask, I know it's kind of a personal thing, but where is the point when you have an injury that you just say, I can feel sorry for myself, or I can get up and I can do something about it, and I can go out there and live my life?
You know what? Sometimes it's watching a race like this. Literally, sometimes it's seeing this on TV, seeing somebody doing something with your type of disability, and a light bulb goes off, and you go, you know what? If that person can do it, I can do it too.
Well, now we have Kiana Collette currently in the #1 spot.
Yeah. Yep. So once again, Kiana, so she's an upper limb athlete, meaning her upper arm is injured. She's got a paralysis in her back arm. You can see her really pointing her way down the mountain. That's how she keeps her hips in line with her board. And she's doing incredible. I mean, her lines are really clean. She did really well last week in the Euro Cups as well. So, and she's also really representing upper limb athletes in the Paralympics because it's not yet a Paralympic category. So she's out here saying, hey, if I can do it, you can do it too. Let's get more women involved.
But I feel like we have a lot of competitors in that same situation. So I think that would be a no-brainer for Paralympics to put that as a class, wouldn't it?
There's a lot of women out there doing it, but they all got to show up. They got to show up to the World Championships, and that's part of the challenge. If they don't all show up to one race, then the Paralympics don't know if they're out there and can eliminate the class. And so as of right now, it won't be in 2022, but hopefully in the next games.
You just got to keep that torch lit and just keep working on it.
Exactly, and you got to do exactly what Kiana's doing, which is out here riding, representing, showing what the possibilities are.
And she is wiped out
right
there. So that is, I am done. Now we go to Peggy Martin, currently in 2nd place right now. Peggy to drop in her second opportunity here.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm really a fan of Peggy, because we are the same age. So I'm kind of digging her style right now.
I'm a fan of her because she comes out here and just charges. I'm always, we won't see her all year, and then she'll come out here for a race and win a medal.
Yeah. Peggy, where you been? And she walks away with a medal.
Yeah.
So I got a medal now.
She's incredible, and she's amazing. She's also got paralysis in her upper arm as well, and or in her upper limb in her arm, and she's and so that can be quite challenging. If you can imagine snowboarding, but with like your hand in your pocket. You don't really have the control of that arm, and oftentimes, where your shoulders go, your hips go. And so it's a little bit harder for these athletes. Like you can kind of see how she's going around the corner. She's really guiding with the arm that is her strongest because she doesn't have both arms to balance her out.
And it's one of those things, you said it right there, because when you teach snowboarding to able-body or something like that, you're going to tell someone to use your shoulder, point the direction you want to go, your hips will follow, your board will follow.
Yeah, and that was a really quick run by Peggy.
Well, Peggy's trying to challenge that #1 spot. Kiana Clay the #1 spot. Peggy the #2 spot. So that was the time to do it. As now we look at Darian Haynes, the Hawaiian.
Yeah, so we got Darian here, and once again, she's an arm. She's got paralysis in her back arm, so you can see how she's guiding her way down the mountain with her front arm. This is really how we teach the riders to ride. This is how we all ride, actually, because it keeps our hips in line. It allows us to control our board better. And I mean, she's doing really, really good for only riding for 2.5 months.
And I mean, come on, the temperature difference from Maui to Copper, there's a little bit of a difference right there.
I'm pretty sure she was surfing like 2 days ago. And then she's here, adapting to 10,000 feet and the freezing cold weather.
So the one day she's dropping in at Honolulu Bay and Maui, and the next day she's dropping in on a bank slalom course at Copper.
Yeah, it's amazing. But it's so amazing for me to watch all these new women just up and coming. I mean, we had the same women competing for a very long time. A lot of athletes retired after the last Paralympic Games, and now we've got this whole new field of female athletes, inspiring other women to get involved. And yeah, if there's any women out there, come to Adaptive Action Sports and train with us.
Exactly. You know, people need to understand Adaptive Action Sports here at Copper Mountain. They can come if they think that maybe this is something they want to try.
Yeah, or if they just want to learn how to snowboard or snowboard better, like learn how to adapt better to their disability and to their snowboard.
You don't have to drop in and compete for a gold medal?
No, you don't have to. You know, you don't have to, but I guarantee you'll want to.
Yeah.
You'll want to.
All right, well, there you go. The women have finished up. We will check the times here, and we will have the awards coming up after that. But we got the men coming up, and here's how the top 3 right now. John Leslie, number 3. Owen Pick in the number 2 spot. Maddie Sir Amari holding down the number 1 spot right now. A couple Americans down in 7th and 8th. So besides in Colby Fields, all coming up. Second and final run for the men. And we'll put this thing in the books for 2021 Dew Tour Copper Mountain after this. Brad J, Amy Purdy in the booth. Thanks for joining us. If you're watching us at home, we'll get your butts out to Copper one of these days and stop by and say hi at the Adaptive Action Sports Center out here.
Yeah, we're working with all these athletes, training them for the Paralympic Games, teaching new athletes with disabilities how to snowboard, and just, you know, having a good time.
Will you go to Beijing and work with the Paralympic athletes, or what's your plan?
You know, Beijing's a little interesting. I don't think we're going to be making it. We're going to be working with the athletes all the way up till they go to Beijing, but I don't think we'll be headed out there.
And so you have valuable knowledge to be able to share with them because you've been through the trenches. You've been there. You were there in 2014. You know what it's like to be in their situation.
There's nothing like the Paralympic Games, especially for adaptive snowboard, because usually we don't compete with spectators. We don't compete with cameras. Most of the time our World Cups are kind of in a little bit of a vacuum. Then we come out here to Dew Tour. This is actually great practice for the athletes for the Paralympic Games because there's cameras.
Yeah, it breaks them in.
Yeah, exactly. It breaks them in. All of a sudden you're at the Paralympic Games. You have, you know, you have cowbells going off, you've got cameras in your face, and you're just like, the world is watching, don't mess up.
Let's take a look at some of our highlights so far of the women and how they've been getting her done out here today on the slopes of Copper.
Yeah, so we've got Annika here. Yeah, they're doing incredible. These women are representing what the possibilities are and getting more women involved in the sport.
And I think the one point that you made is like, it could just be a situation like this. Somebody could be at home and turn on and watch this, and they go, you know what, I could do that.
Yeah.
What am I feeling sorry for right now? I should get up and I should make something happen.
Exactly. I mean, when I lost both of my legs, I remember I was laying in the hospital bed, had no idea if I'd snowboard again. Someone actually brought a picture of a runner, a double leg amputee runner, into me, an article, and I saw her running, and I thought, if she can run, I can snowboard. That was it. I knew that I would be okay.
Oh, you're going to get me crying here in a second.
So, I mean, that's what these athletes,
awesome.
you know, they're not just representing, they're representing the possibilities, they're representing high-level sport, and they're here today.
There you go. That's going to be the results here. We'll find out the hardware later, but Donica Hustler, she's done it, man. 3rd place. She got the bronze. Peggy Martin, so age is just a number. Peggy Martin's in 2nd. Kiana Clay, she takes the number 1 spot.
This is incredible. I'm just so proud of all these women. This is amazing.
Unbelievable, you know, and hats off to Dew Tour for, you know, bringing it into as well and having adaptive bank slalom as something that we can all get behind.
Exactly, and I want to say thank you to Toyota as well. Toyota is my longtime partner. I've been with Toyota for almost 10 years, which is incredible. They're sponsoring Adaptive Action Sports. They sponsor a lot of these athletes, and they sponsor the entire Paralympic movement, which has been, they've been the most incredible sponsor of the Paralympic movement out of any other company out there. So
yeah,
it's incredible to have them backing us up.
Yeah, and you look at what Toyota done for the Paralympics and for adaptive, but you know, Toyota is also action sports in general. Toyota has been behind it for free skiing, for snowboarding. Big ups to Toyota and what they do.
Okay, absolutely.
I'll call you in a bit.
Oh, look, we got the ladies up there. This is what I love. You know, just the friendship. Everybody's helping everybody.
Where's the like, I don't like this person, I'm going to beat this person. You don't see that out here.
You don't see that out here. Well, however, you may see it at times.
Okay,
yeah.
So that's the thing that I know that they all love each other, they enjoy each other, but you still want to win.
Listen, when you're in the start gates, you have no friends. You're just like, I got to get across that finish line first. That's all there is to it.
It's like a powder day. You got no friends on a powder day either.
Exactly.
Right? Amy Purdy, Brad J here in the booth calling it with you. And our final action going on here for the dudes. And our standings right now, there you go. John Leslie in that third spot. Owen Pick in number 2. Maddie Sir, Hamari in the number 1 spot. I'm not really surprised about our top 3 right now.
Yeah, I'm not surprised either. I mean, but Benny's incredible. This is usually his discipline as well, so he may step up in there as well.
Well, it looks like we'll start with Alex Massey here now.
Yeah, so you've got Alex Massey once again. He's a single below the knee amputee. He's moving quick. I think that first run was more like a practice run for them because I'm seeing everybody pick up really quick now.
And it's like it's a game of inches where you dive into the corner. You got to keep that speed going, keep that flow going.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody's prosthetics are adapted to the course and adapted to the sport that we're doing.
Oh, so very good, yeah.
So they're probably up there cranking away at their legs with the Allen wrenches, trying to just get their legs just right for this course. Sometimes it can take a while to do that.
Is that something also that you'll share with other, other athletes that you're up there in the booth with? Like, oh, here's what I do. I kind of turn it this way, or
exactly. And we're constantly adapting our gear. That was a quick run.
So Massive Massey on run number 2, trying to see if he can get up into that top 3, maybe above John Leslie or Owen Pick or Maddie Sir Hamari. So we'll look to Maddie Hawkins, or is this Owen Pick? Oh,
we got Owen, and so he is trying to get up to that gold medal again because he won it last time. So. And he's quick around these turns. He's got a really nice tight line.
Well, the game plan here, you're already in second place, so just let her rip all the way down.
Exactly, yeah. And this is a course where it's like you can let the board run, but you also have to be strategic on your line. It can take you offline pretty easily as well. So.
Oh, speed-wise, yeah, because speed is not your friend of a tight turn.
Exactly. You get too tight, you slow your speed down. And so Owen, he lost his leg in Afghanistan. Just amazing to be a wounded vet and out here representing, but also one of the best in the world.
Well, definitely. Oh, no, nice. Love that air gap.
Yeah.
He clears that, no problem. Then pumps this.
Those are sharp rollers at the end there.
Yeah. I saw them the other day when I was snowboarding by them. I was like, oh, those things look pretty tight right there.
Yeah, you have to really absorb them. Yeah. To try to stay on your feet.
So down we go to Jimmy Sides out of Silverthorne, the local.
Yes,
of course.
He is. He's our local ski patrol. Came out of retirement after retiring after the 2018 Paralympic Games and decided to compete in Dew Tour. And he's riding super clean today, having a good time. He's an arm amputee from Afghanistan as well.
So much respect for all these riders out here, and what they were dealt with in their life, but to be able to be resilient and get out here and compete, it's just awesome.
That's what it's all about. We're also like hyped up on each other and excited to be a part of this together. That it's like we love our community. This is the most resilient, kind of badass community I've ever been a part of. And we all feel that way, and we all just kind of, we like magnetize those types of people to us. So we've just got the coolest crew here today.
I love it. A little frontside layback slash into that. Throw on some spray. Nicely done, Jimmy Sides.
Yeah.
Now we'll take our attention back up top. We got Benny now ready to go. And he's looking for a podium spot. What's he going to have to do, Amy?
Oh, man. I mean, gosh, I feel like this is Benny's sport. I think he's got it. Like, look how quick he is around those turns. He really sinks into his board. He's got really good style. Typically, like, really relaxed around those turns. I think he's got a chance of coming in top here. I think a lot of the athletes,
good turn.
That first run, once again, it's like you're kind of strategically going around those corners. And
I think you called it just a little while ago, going too fast, and he came into that corner and had to revert out.
You've got some turns that are tight, and then some that are wide open, and you pick up the speed. Then all of a sudden you get around a tight turn, and it throws you off.
And you're hyped too, because look, you were gunning for a podium position. So Benny is going to let her all go on that one.
And Benny wanted me to give a shout out to his amazing mom, Melissa Ted Hope. She's incredible. She's raised amazing athletes.
Melissa is her name?
Yeah.
Mom Melissa, big shout out.
Mom.
James Barnes Miller, JBM now on the course.
Yeah, so James did really good. Last year he finished with the Crystal Globe, so that's the all-around winner. And he won silver and bronze in Finland just last week. So that was a really good turn.
And he's got that stance really far back, because that's like a pow stick. You look at that back stance and see how close it is to the tail.
Exactly. So bank slalom, that's where it's quite different than snowboard cross, which is the other discipline that athletes compete in. This is a little bit more like surfing, because if you can get on that back foot and you can kind of just ride those berms, some of the athletes will show up in these powder boards and set their stance completely different.
Yeah, because it's
that was a clean run.
Because you get a little bit more of a wash when you ride those, a little bit more of a powder stick.
Yeah, and not knowing what to expect with the weather too. I mean, if there's a powder day on a big slalom course, you definitely want a powder board. That helps you whip around those turns.
Matty Sir Hamari now, 35 years old, and he is currently the leader right now. So if you're, the Finnish leader, what are you doing here? Just trying to clean up your run from before?
I think so. I mean, Matty, once again, he's a really strong athlete. He's got a lot of momentum that carries him down the mountain, but then sometimes that can go against you too. So he's got to be super strategic getting around those tight turns.
Looking good here. Now he's already in the lead, so if you could take a couple more, speed that time up a little bit, drop a couple more seconds off, it's going to make it that much harder for someone to catch it. Yeah,
and Matty's the 2018 gold medalist for Korea Paralympic Games, and he's like the one to beat typically.
That was a fun mountain too. The place we did that in Pyeongchang.
That was fun. Yeah, that was so fun.
So Matty's done what he can do. Now it comes to John Leslie. Now John Leslie, who was in third after run number 1. So he knows he needs to go a little bit faster to try and challenge those top 2 positions. Yeah,
and John is ripping. I mean, he retired. He may rethink his retirement after this.
Come on. If you're on the podium, come on.
I know, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. And yeah, he's riding so clean. So something interesting about John, he has a very interesting amputation. He had cancer in his leg when he was younger, and he goes down. Dang it. Those turns are icy. They're quick. They're tight. But his amputation super interesting. So he had this tumor in his bone. They actually were able to take that part of his bone out, but keep the rest of his leg and his foot. They actually turned his foot backwards, and that's what goes in his prosthetic leg. They rotated his foot. That goes in his prosthetic.
My goodness.
They just took out the section that had cancer. And
they caught it.
And he's an incredible athlete, and he's a fitness trainer, and ripping.
Look at that. Love to see that. John Leslie, third place after run number 1. We'll see if that holds up. Will he be on the podium? And now we take all our attention up. The final rider in the mix, and happens to be one of the youngest at 16 years old. Colby Fields, skater too, right?
Oh, yeah. Colby is he's got so much style. I mean, he's just such a sick skater, and my husband, who's standing up there in the army jacket, found him at a skate park and was like, hey, you should try snowboarding. His mom was like, oh, we didn't even know that snowboarding was in the Paralympic Games. Like, what are the Paralympic Games?
I don't even know.
And now he's already podiumed. He got 4 podiums just last week in the World Cup and Euro Cup, which is amazing.
So at 16 years old, he's got a little new lease on life and what he wants to do, maybe to really keep challenging and make Paralympics and represent, right?
Yeah, I mean, he rides freestyle and big mountain already, so he's already just a really experienced, sick rider. But, it's different when you get into the snowboard course. You actually have to, you're not free riding, you're going around gates. You've got to ride certain lines. You have to make a lot of decisions.
There's a plan.
Yep, you got to have a plan and figure out, how are you going to get down the mountain fastest. And sometimes when you try to go fast, you actually go slower. You have to really let your board just run.
I always feel like running the course the day of, so you really see how it's looking, and then you just try to see where you can button up things, not really try to just let it go as fast as you can, but work on turns.
It's those little things that make you go faster, not trying to go faster.
Exactly. Amazing stuff right there out of all of our competitors.
Yeah, that was exciting. That was really, really fun. For me, just, being a part of the sport for so long, and now watching these new athletes come out here and represent, and
Can you tell me this? When you were pushing to get Paralympics, snowboarding in the Paralympics, did doors get shut in your face?
Oh, yeah. We got turned down multiple times, actually, trying to get snowboarding in the Paralympic Games.
How'd you stay positive?
What was that?
How'd you stay positive on that?
We just loved snowboarding. So, you know, we were snowboarding no matter what. It's like you win a race, you lose a race, you don't make it into something. We were still snowboarding no matter what. We just got a bigger and bigger army together and eventually showed that this is a huge movement, should be in the games.
Love will triumph.
Yeah. And then it happened. So, I mean, we knew that someday it would be in the games and we wanted to be a part of it. I mean, we knew someday it would grow enough to be in the games, and so we just made it our mission to get it there as soon as possible. I certainly wanted to be able to compete, and was honored to be able to compete in two events and bring home 3 medals.
The 3 medals there. I don't even think I got participation medals, maybe. I never got anything like that. But I'll tell you what, just seeing this, and you got to give props out to Dew Tour, you know, for making this definitely part of the schedule, putting adaptive in here and making it happen every year.
You know, this is incredible. This is huge. This is how people even know that our sport exists. This is what helps grow our sport. You know, I guarantee there's kids at home who lost their leg or lost their arm and didn't know that they could snowboard, didn't know that they could be in the Paralympic Games or compete even at Dew Tour, who are watching this today and who will go, okay, I want to show up and do that next year.
Do you think sometimes the parents, after, you know, your child has an injury, you tend to kind of like baby them a little bit, or do you think that happens a little bit more?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think parents want to, you know, always protect their kids. But if you let kids just be kids, they'll always adapt and figure out a way, right? Yeah. They'll always figure out a way. So you just kind of let them go and they'll figure it out.
Unbelievable just to be able to see it and witness it. And just there's so many feel-good stories when you look at it, and then you tell me something, a little background about each of these athletes where I hear that it kind of just tugs at the heartstrings, and you feel part of it, and you're just excited to see it being part of Dew Tour.
I think so, because, you know, we all face adversity at times. We all have to be resilient and persevere and push through challenge in our lives. So to actually...
Yeah, you just got to kind of do what you need to do.
Yeah, so to actually watch athletes doing it is incredible, right? Like to watch them persevere, to watch the resilience. I think it makes you feel like, oh, I can do it too.
I think that was one of the things, the late skateboarder John Comer was a friend of mine, and I remember complaining about, you know, getting older and skateboarding and how it hurts my back and stuff. And here's a guy skating with one leg and competing at the level that he did back in the day. And like, I told myself after that, after meeting John and knowing him for a while, I was like, you know what, I'm done complaining. Just go out and do what you can do.
You know, and that's the same for all of us. I think a lot of people, you know, they'll see me with 2 prosthetic legs and they're like, oh, I can never complain again. And I'm like, look, I complain too. We all just have to use what we have. That's all you can, you know, to the best of our abilities. That's all you can do. We're so much more capable than we give ourselves credit for. We think we can't do things. We're too old. We've missed our, you know, our prime. We're overweight, whatever it may be. And it's like, these are all just weird beliefs and stories we're telling ourselves. So why don't we start telling ourselves, no, I got this. Yeah, it's like, I got this. Like, if they can do this, I can do this. Like, I'm all good.
Something to be said about the positivity factor, right? You know? Like for you, Dancing with the Stars, that's way, wasn't that out of your comfort level?
Oh.
To do something like that, Dancing with the Stars, I would think that would be one of the hardest things that you could commit to in your situation.
It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I cannot feel my feet. I don't even know what they're doing. And I'm dancing on a very slippery dance floor on different types of feet that don't even, there's not any cha-cha or salsa feet out there. Like, we had to create different feet. I wore swimming feet to dance in because they helped me get on my tippy toes. I wore my running blades to do the quick step in. I mean, you know, when you're committed to something, which I was committed because I was on live TV, you can't just be like, I can't do this, I'm out of here. So I was committed to figuring it out. When you are committed, you will get creative and find a way, and we did every single week.
And you didn't just like compete, you're runner-up, so like you did well. It wasn't like you just showed up and you got blown out the first day and you were done. I mean, you went on, you kept going on.
I was surprised. I just didn't want to be the first one eliminated, and then to make it all the way to the end to almost win, I was like, man, I did what I wanted to do. I wanted to experience every single week. I wanted to make it to the end. And I did.
So proud of you. All right, let's check into the boards and see what's going on right now, because tell you what, we got to hand out that hardware here.
Oh yeah.
Here's all of our athletes. They're probably ready to get all warmed up.
Oh yeah, it's looking colder and colder up there.
Check.
Today was already a
Give a
colder
big
day.
round of applause for all the athletes throwing down. Congrats, everybody. Much respect.
Just listening in here.
Welcome
DC.
out here to the official awards for. This is going to be the women's adaptive bank slalom presented by Toyota that we're going to bring up to the podium first. So chivalry existed here. Going ladies first. Before I bring up our podium finishers, I want to introduce a very special guest, our award presenter. Thank you, Russ Coble from Toyota Sports Marketing. Russ, thank you for being on hand here.
Nice.
And big ups to Toyota. My
He's been a
forerunner gets me around the
long-time
mountain
supporter of
safely, so
adaptive action
tell
sports,
them
which
thank
is
you very
awesome.
much.
Nice.
And with no further ado, in third place, let's hear it for Annika Hustler.
You know, I am so proud of Annika. She's just incredible.
That is pretty darn cool.
That is amazing. Literally 2 days ago, my husband Dan was like, "Want to race and do tour?" She's like, "Sure."
Third place.
And then she goes something, he gets on the podium.
This is huge.
And
This is
in
incredible
second
for her.
place, let's hear for
I'm
Peggy
so proud
Martin.
of Annika.
And second, I missed that one. Was it Peggy? Yeah.
Oh, we got Peggy, you know, representing every year out here. She's amazing. She shows up out of nowhere
Second place finisher,
and
Peggy
wins
Martin.
hardware every time.
Keeping up with them.
And your
Yeah.
champion out here for women's adaptive bank slalom, presented by Toyota. Local girl, so Colorado, raise up. Let's hear it for Kiana Clay.
That is amazing. You know, Kiana, she's been training with Adaptive Action Sports full time. She is the first Burton adaptive athlete.
That's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
Yep, and she's just getting better and better, and she's got a gold from Dew Tour. This is huge.
Well, there's your podium right there. Annika Hustler in that number 3 spot, grabbing the bronze. Peggy Martin in that silver, and then Kiana Clay taking the big win. So what does that mean for them now? Now that they have to start rethinking, like, okay, am I in this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think so because, you know, Kiana, I mean, her sport's not yet in the her category, being an upper limb athlete, is not yet in the Paralympic Games. So, you know, these are the little wins you need though to keep you going. That's like, yes, I'm doing this. I'm getting better and helping other women, and eventually it will get into the Paralympic Games and she'll be there competing.
But you got to push.
You got to push and you got to stick it out, and you're going to be told no a lot. Like, you know, it was a big no for women with upper limb impairment to be in the Paralympics for 2022. So you got to like be in it for the next 4 years, but know that you got to know you're doing something bigger than just for yourself, right? You're doing this for all women who want to compete in that category.
So Benny, did Benny grab the 3rd spot?
Oh, I think he did.
Yes.
What a beautiful place to reconnect.
I mean, that's amazing. You know, big slalom is one of Benny's best disciplines, so I'm not surprised at all that he's on the podium.
But what a comeback, because he wasn't in the top 3.
Yeah.
Great Britain.
I know, right?
Let's hear it for Owen Pick.
And so Owen Pick grabbed the 2nd spot then.
Yeah.
So Benny made it up. That's awesome.
He did.
Yeah, because remember, he was not in the top 3.
Yeah, and then he slid out on that next run, but yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know the times, but I'm sure some of these were quite close. Sometimes these times are like within a 1/10 of a second of each other.
Yeah. And time to hand out the gold here. First place.
And your champion out here for men's adaptive bank slalom, presented by Toyota. And you'll please have to correct me if I mispronounce the name here, but Maddie Hamari.
I think he did well. He pronounced it.
Yeah, we'll call him Maddie or Matti, is it, you know, if we were in Finland, but
Matti, yeah.
He's always cool with us calling him Maddie, though, which is nice.
That's his American.
That's his American name, exactly.
He's in the U.S. He's Maddie.
Yeah, and so we've got two. So Maddie and Benny there are both Team Unicorn. Maddie's from Finland, Benny's from Australia, but they're training together. Also, Alex Massey from Canada is part of Team Unicorn as well. They had an incredible coach, Miko, who unfortunately passed away just last year, and it was a big blow for our entire field. Oh, look at that! They're exhausted. They did it. But yeah, you know, everybody's just so supportive of each other, and it's incredible.
Just awesome to see it. There you go. That's our podium. Maddie Serhamari, Owen Pick, and then Benny Tudhope right there in that 3rd spot, making it up on that 2nd run.
Yeah.
So much fun. All right, Amy, what's your thoughts on what we just saw here today?
I am just blown away by everybody being out here representing how well everybody rode, having some brand new athletes. The women are brand new out here competing, and seeing how well they did today was incredible.
So when you look to the future of adaptive and you look for a future Paralympics, what do you see?
Oh my gosh, I mean, it's just going to continue to grow, and the level of skill continues to grow. I mean, it's incredible. Guaranteed, if you watch the 2014 Paralympic Games compared to the 2022 coming up, it's going to be a world of difference in skill set. And it's just incredible that, everybody's pushing their limits and pushing each other's limits.
And you know what, and I know you don't want to sing your own praises on that, but I give you a lot of credit for being where we are today. And I've been a fan of the Olympics since I was a little kid on Miracle on Ice, the first time I ever saw something happen. And then now to see, with Para getting pushed in there, and me being part of the first time announcing it in Sochi for snowboarding against Para, honored. And it's people like you that have made it there. So big ups to you, Amy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. This was so fun.
An amazing day, number 3, and we are not done yet here. Due to Copper Mountain, that's going to do it for your adaptive snowboard bank slalom presented by Toyota. On behalf of DC out in the field, Amy Purdy, tell you what, Brad J here, and I am absolutely dumbfounded on what we get to see. The future looks bright for adaptive bank slalom here at Dew Tour and for Para. So thanks for coming out. More stuff coming up. It's Dew Tour, Copper Mountain, day number 3. Thanks for being part of an amazing competition.